Thank you very much. It's the best show ever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we go to our political correspondent, since we seem to be steeped in politics now. Please welcome all the way back from Washington, D.C., the crime rate capital of the country, the one and only Alyson Chadwick. Squeeze on in there, and I'll squeeze out. I'm just trying to make sure I get your name right.
How are y'all doing, Todd Miller Show?
Yay!
I've got a question for everybody, and I hope the answer to this is no. But has anyone here ever had sex that was so bad that it made you question the viability of a species?
Yes! Sex is like easy.
See, I used to think that about sex. Well, it's sex, but and it wasn't great, but it was pet sex. I had sex not too long ago that was so bad that during it I was like, this is how people create new people? Why do people do this? This is terrible. And there was a hashtag thing the other day that said, hashtag 5 words that make sex awkward. And I thought, are you really still here? Like, it was so bad. I was thinking, I think being raped felt better than this.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I've done this before.
That's quite profound.
I remember doing this before. It's not my first time. In fact, my first time, I orgasmed my first time. I still remember that. It was awesome. But now I'm like, God, am I gay? Am I gay? Is that it? And then I was thinking, if I was gay, I wouldn't tell anybody. Not because I think it's a bad thing to be gay. I just wouldn't want my mother to find out, because that would make her happy. And I don't want her to have any joy in her life. She's a bitch. Kind of upset with my mother right now. She used to want me to be gay. I grew up in San Francisco, and I had this mental image that she was hanging out. I'm a teenager. She's hanging out with her friends, and her friends were like, hey, yeah, my son came out gay today. Oh, good for you. Yeah, I was cool with that. Oh, good. And my daughter came out, gay. Oh, that's good. And Anne, how about your daughter? Yeah, she's still straight. Oh, don't worry, Anne. She'll do something to make you proud someday. I've come out as straight to my mother every year since I was 16. And I lived with her for a while, and she'd see guys leaving my room in the morning. We were not playing Parcheesi all night, all right? And she'll say things like, it's okay if you're a lesbian. And I'm like, thank you, but I'm still straight. And one time we're in the car and I'm driving, and she turns to me and she says, that Angelina Jolie is much more sensual than Jennifer Aniston. And I'm like, I don't know where you're going with this, Mom, but if you don't shut up, I'm going to drive us into traffic. But she kept going, and finally I had to say, listen, Mom, the first thing I'm going to do when we get out of this car is I'm going to suck every dick I see, and I'm going to lick it. That shut her up for a minute.
I second that emotion.
See, my mother has all the maternal instincts of Casey Anthony.
Good line.
When I was about 5, or 3 actually, she started to divorce my father, her husband, and I think she's something like this. She's like, John, I know you're a violent sociopath, and Alyson is 3, but I've got a flight to catch, so here you go. And she left. Speaking of my father, I'm not going to go to him, but he lives in Long Island, and he is a violent sociopath. At one point, I thought he was a Long Island serial killer. Called him, asked him, you a Long Island serial killer? Alyson, those murders in the South Shore of Long Island, that's a 45-minute drive from here. So I'm like, that's a true story. But I saw today, there's a big snowstorm hitting Long Island, and I was like, I seriously thought, oh my God, maybe it'll kill him, sweet. But back to my mom. I used to go visit her as a kid because she lived near me. She always lives someplace else. And I went to go visit her, and I was all excited. I'm going to go see Mom. Yay! Get off the airplane, looking at the people, meeting their friends and family. And I'm like, I don't know any of those people. I'm like, whatever, I got on the shuttle, I went to the hotel. I remember thinking, I hope this is the right shuttle, the right hotel. It'll work out. I get to her hotel room. What are you doing here? Could you ever see someone you care about with that answer? Especially haven't seen them in a while, like, what are you doing here? Like, so now I'm irritated. And I'm like, well, I was visiting you and I'm here. She's like, what's your problem? I'm like, well, you forgot to pick me up at the airport, number 1. Number 2, I'm 10. And number 3, it's Reykjavik, Iceland. That's a true story. So anyway, and her idea of logic goes something like this. Like, her husband, Jim, was a horrible racist. And she'd be like, yeah, but Alyson, he's leaving all this money in his will to the blacks. And I'm like, hey, why the fuck do I care? And how does that make him not a racist? And by the way, then later on, she's like, no, I never said that. He didn't have a will. I'm like, you're a freak show. Freak show. I'm trying to think the other bad things she's done, but there's so many, it's hard to pinpoint them. But I'm gonna go with this because let's see. It's so hard to pick them. If she has 2 options of something that could have happened to something, one makes sense, but does not involve me. One does not make sense, but does involve me. She'll go with the latter. Example. Now let's tell you the story, the true story. Went over her house and we're talking about things. She goes, I don't even mind that you're taking our cereal. I'm like, taking your cereal? Why would I take your fucking cereal? I know you're taking the cereal. Turned out, her husband loves cereal, and she bought some cereal that was healthy, tastes like nuts and twigs and shit. And I'm like, I'm not gonna eat that. But it was being eaten really fast, so she thought I was leaving work, taking a half-hour metro each way, it's an hour commute, to go into their house in the middle of the day and eat their cereal. So that's where her brain is. And sometimes she tries to be sympathetic and to be helpful. Like, I worked on the Gore campaign. And you might remember, I know it's history, I'm old. History books, you heard about Al Gore, he ran for president and lost. I was very upset after the Supreme Court. I called her crying, oh my God, I can't believe we're gonna have George W. Bush as president. She says, well, I just hope you don't think this is your fault. Thanks, Mom. Or, hey guys, shut up. So, just kidding. Anyway.
No talking, ma'am.
So then, another thing, my cat died. My cat was 19 years old and died, and I gave her a Valium because of getting her put to sleep, and I didn't want her last minutes on Earth to be terrified. So I gave her the Valium, and I had her to sleep, but I was sad, and I called my mom again. I'm so sad about the cat. She goes, well, you probably killed that cat yourself with the Valium. Like, and I was like, Mom, thanks. And later on I said, that was kind of mean. She goes, yeah, but it was true. Which brings us to this experience I'm having right now. I went away in December, and my mom was convinced that the landlord I had was to take care of my cats couldn't do a good enough job. Or she thought for me it'd be better. She took my cats to her friend Carolyn's house. Said, please don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Well, sure enough, they ran away 6 weeks ago, and now they're gone. And I'm fucking pissed off about this.
Fuck cats.
Fuck you. So anyway, I'm thinking of all these things I could do to my mom to really just get her. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to fuck up my karma. But I set up her Facebook, her website, her email. I could put on all of those things. Dear world, I'm a horrible cunt who killed my daughter's cats. And but I'm perfectly vindicated because I was upset that day. Because all my friends on Facebook want to, fuck her over. But then I thought of something even better. I'd go to her house and I would get her home phone and I'd forward it. And first I thought I'd forward it to Cafe Risque or the insane asylum or something like that. But then I thought even better would be the funeral home. So cause she's older, 98-year-old bridge playing friends will call her and be like, okay, Thomas Mortuary. And how fucked up would that be? I think it'd be hilarious. I'm not going to do it. Now, in all the sadness that has happened, since you mentioned political stuff, this weekend was a shining light in my life. The GOP met in Iowa, and they trotted out some of their presidential contenders for the 2016 election. And among them were Donald Trump. How awesome is that? He's like, yeah, Mitt's a loser, and we don't want another Bush, but I could do the job, so I'm gonna run. Like, yeah, okay, good. Good luck with you. Then we have Ben Carson. Have you all heard of Ben Carson?
No.
Ben Carson is Herman Cain 2.0.
He's great.
He's fucking awesome. He's a physician who does not believe in evolution. He believes that Obamacare is the worst thing to happen to black people since slavery.
Yeah.
And he loves to talk about how America is Nazi Germany.
Right.
And people say, hey, you really think America is like Nazi Germany? He's like, no.
It was in the 80s.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, you're listening to my words. It's like, Dr. Carson, do you not know how verbal communication works? You say a word, we think about what it means, we think about what you are meaning. But the best part of the weekend was Sarah Palin.
Yeah. Oh, that's my pick.
Seriously, she gave a speech that was so fucked up that even the conservatives were like, shut up, Sarah. At one point, she's like, my daughter Bristol had some photos on the internet and caused a scandal. She was au naturel, right? She was wearing nothing but a leather strap. And I'm like, she was naked? What? And then it turned out she was training a dog because they were gonna, something about taking care of special needs children like Trig. And I'm like, why are you naked with a dog taking care of a child? What are you doing up there in Alaska? But, I mean, seriously, it was awesome. You gotta see it. I put it on my satire site, verbatim, just a straight up speech. It's not satire, but it's so awesome. And truthfully, the whole experience made me orgasm in a way that sex couldn't. So, yes! Anyway, thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.